Okay, Australia's population has grown by over 600,000 people in the past financial year. That's the highest number in history, 100,000 more than what the May federal budget projected. Joining me now is macro business chief economist Leith Van Onselen. Leith, great to see you as always. What is driving this surge?
Yes, Erin. Well, it's especially an across-the-board increase in immigration across all the categories, but the main contributor has actually been overseas students. So the number of overseas students and also people on graduate visas in Australia has increased by 300,000, or just over 300,000 last financial year. So that's effectively what has driven this migration surge. There's now about 850,000 people in Australia currently, either on a graduate visa or on a student visa, and that basically means that 1 in 30 Australians, people in Australia right now, is either on one of those visas. So it's an extraordinary number.
When we are in the midst of a rental crisis, Australians are struggling to find a home. Why are we taking in so many more people?
Well, it's a good question. It's probably one better targeted at the federal government. Look, we've obviously got record low vacancy rates at the moment. We've got rents rising at a double-digit pace across the capital cities. We've got more people being forced into group housing. We've got more Australians becoming homeless. And sadly, the Albanese government is adding to the problem every single day by running the biggest migration program in this nation's history. And the worrying thing is this isn't going to change. Last month's intergenerational report said that Australia's population is going to grow by 14.2 million people over the next 40 years. Now, just to put that into perspective, that's like adding to Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide to Australia's current population in just 40 years. Now, all that's going to do is that's going to guarantee that Australia has permanent housing shortages for basically the next 40 years and going to keep having this same problem. How
does the number compare to, say, what the former government were doing?
Oh, look, it's way high. Last year we brought in nearly 400,000 migrants. That was the 2022 calendar year. We're going to easily exceed that this year by these figures in the national accounts. The former government's biggest year was about 260,000, I think, 2017. So this is way bigger than what the former government did. This is unprecedented. We've never seen population numbers like these.
Finally, Phil Lowe's last speech as Reserve Bank Governor, fittingly titled Some Closing Remarks. It was pretty outspoken. What were your thoughts and what is his legacy?
Look, we always get this. Whenever a politician retires or someone in one of these senior positions, they always tell the truth, right? They don't do it while they're in the job. They always wait for their valedictory speech to basically say what they want to say, which is always a shame. We see it all the time. Basically, he focused on two things. He said, first of all, he wants fiscal policy, so the federal budget policy basically, and monetary policy to work together, not at cross purposes. So at the moment, we've got this burnout economy where basically the Reserve Bank of Australia's got the foot planted on the brake, trying to slow the economy through massive interest rate hikes. Then we've got the federal government basically pumping demand through record levels of immigration. And that's pushing up rents and other inflationary pressures. So he wants them to work together. The other thing he focused on is he wants Australia's woeful productivity to improve, and he wants governments at all levels to basically work on that. That's always easier said than done. We've got an entire agency called the Productivity Commission dedicated to this exact thing, but government never listens to anything they say. But my final point in this, Erin, though, is you do not boost productivity by fire hosing in record numbers of people into the country and basically crush loading everything from infrastructure to housing, whatever. All that does is it creates congestion problems everywhere, and that actually lowers productivity. So that's one thing you don't do, and that's one thing the federal government is doing.
It seems and sounds fairly simple, so I don't understand why it's occurring, given what you just said then. What about under Michelle Bullock, the new RBA governor? What do you think will happen with, say, interest rates over the next few months?
Look, I think interest rates are going to stay on hold. Now, obviously, we've got the weakening economy. The national accounts release that came out on Wednesday was an absolute shocker. That shows that we're in a per capita recession. We've got rising unemployment now. Inflation has come down. There are a few pressure points, though. Obviously, rents are a big problem because we've got this massive population growth. That's the biggest contributor to the CPI. The other main problem we've got now is we've got petrol prices rising. Now, petrol's just gone over $2 a litre. That's going to start adding to inflationary pressures. But that aside, I think the RBA is going to remain on hold, thankfully.
$2.38 it cost me to fill up on my way into work this afternoon. It is utterly ridiculous. Leith, you are not, though, my friend. Thank you so much for your insights, as always.
No worries. Thanks, Erin.